Alright, welcome to another episode of Kid Hopeful Gaming. We're so glad you guys joined us. We're on our Griffin Raiden here. He's one of my favorites. He's only, let's see, he's only level 60, but I've got him beefed up with weight and stuff. He's an awesome bird. Can't thank everybody enough for watching our videos and liking them and commenting. We're new to this and we're learning and growing, but man, we're so grateful. Now, this father and son dream has come true. You can see graphically it's a little glitchy, but it's coming in because I'm at a distance here on my bird. But this is my son's base. He's all about steel and squareness. Dad's more of a medieval kind of guy. I like the castle look. So you can see here as we fly in, I've developed a castle that's pretty high. I've encased it around a steel structure. I gotta tell you guys, this was really hard to build. Wasted a lot of resources trying to figure out how to make the pillars and stuff work appropriately. If you're wondering where we're at on the map, we're by one of the larger mountains. So you can see here near one of the big mountains, sort of in the middle of the map there with the river that runs through sort of the middle of the map. So really good spot right here by the river. A lot of good sand and wide open spaces to build here in this specific area, which is what I needed because I needed something that I could build a pretty large platform on. And you can see this guy's pretty large. It goes up to nearly the top of that rock basin. And you know, my goal was to actually build it higher than that rock basin. But I got to tell you, after like a gazillion levels of building, I ran out of energy. And I wanted to share this video with you because if you like building like me, I'm a building fanatic. I love just putting stuff together. Let me turn up the gamma here so you can see a little better in the dark as it's getting late. But you can see I built a steel fortified dino pen, and you know, being ex-military myself, I'm all about structure and order. So I got all the troops lined up, if you will, sort of in their own places with their own feeding pens, and went a little dino pet crazy for eggs and stuff, but not too bad. And I started to build, as you can see here, a steel structure off to my left that turned out to be more of a fun clubhouse type of thing. Made it out of all steel, and I got kind of bored with all the square steel panel type thing, but it was kind of fun. I put some ramps out and things. And at about this height that's perfect for getting on a Bronto saddle, so I can kind of pull my Brontos up here, get on and off, and it's kind of cool as far as like a stepping off platform. And then what I did is I decided, you know what, I'd like to build next to this wall, so this stone wall, and I've got just basically a dino pin here, and I'll come down here and show it to you. I've got a dino pin here with some saber tooths and stuff inside that I've had some fun with. Build me a little saber tooth cat ranger patrol, if you will. So I got all my little saber tooths here and got them all lined up ready to go. I've only gotten me one Carno so far and a couple other dinos, you know, raptors and so forth so far. But this is what I had to do to get a platform high enough to start my castle out on a nice even building level. And as most of you guys know, sometimes when you build these pillars up, in some areas part of the pillar wants to stick through the ceiling panel that you put on top of it. So by putting a double layer of ceiling tiles, you can make it one nice level floor, which makes it a little easier as far as building a nice, you know, straight level structure like a castle type of thing. Although nothing says you have to build it that way. You could, you know, if you wanted it to be a castle that's kind of built on different angles and levels and stuff and be a little less linear, you know, you could do that. I wanted sort of a tower look on top, so I built some square structures up there, which was kind of fun. I wasn't sure what to do as far as you know, a place to fly in, if you will. I wanted basically a castle in the sky where only by flying in could you get into the base, and it worked out really nice that way. I've got some big dino doors on each side, as you can see, a lot of lighting. I've got a place to land on the top. If I want to give my castle entryway doors, my aviary if you will, admin access, I also made a place over here where my friends can stop by and visit and jump off of their flying dinos and still have a place to park. So, you know, and that way I can limit everybody's access as I want to certain areas of the castle. If we're having a big get together for our clan, typically I give the clan open access. It's a little funny how these birds sometimes, though, you know, you'll get on and off of them, and sometimes they'll land on their feet, sometimes they won't. But I just so you know, I've learned that if you hop on and off a few times, they typically will find a place to perch, and looks a little bit more realistic than them just hovering there. So that's my guest bird parking. I left this open so I could show it to you, but notice how the pillar is sticking through the ceiling tile, and notice there's a second layer here. By adding this second layer, it gives you a nice smooth floor look. So, you know, I started to make this a big generator location or something, if you will. And of course, I could have built it all out of steel, but I wanted that nice castle look. So stone and reinforced wood doors, man, they look really good for that. So as you come in here to the level you can fly in on, you can see that it's just a big open area for me to fly my birds in. And I found that, honestly, this size door is just barely big enough, because to make it look right and put everything at the appropriate height, I tried to blend it in with the top of the door here. As you can see, I managed to do a pretty decent job. I'm still not completely finished. I've worked my butt off, you know, but there's a few gaps here with windows or whatever that need to be done, but I do plan to finish it. Also, I sort of goofed when I was making my floor. I had one pillar that I put just a tad too high, so it's the only one, I think, sticking up out of the floor here. I wanted some, you know, rapid storage that I could get to, as far as I've got my generator here, and I've got some things that I keep on hand, you know, extra, if you will, for supply needs or whatever. And I wanted a quick access to different areas of the upstairs, because I wanted to kind of section it off. So if I go up the ladder here, and you'll notice you don't have to put the ladders all the way to the floor, because basically all you got to do is look up at the ladder, and it'll let you climb up, and then you can open the door from there. So here's kind of like my workroom. I've got, you know, stuff that I can build here and so forth. I like having these platforms out so I can come out here and I can take a nice view of the dinos. If something's, you know, trying to attack them or whatever from above, I can quickly react, get an assessment of what's going on. So you know, I can do quite a bit of things up here. I plan to add more forges and stuff, but you know, when you're mining a lot of stone and things, it can get kind of tedious, so I haven't quite put as much focus on that yet. So you can see here I can get down to the lower area in a lot of different ways. I've also got an ability here, and of course I goofed in a couple spots on the pillars. You can see some of them are sticking a little low, but it still turned out pretty decent. It was a lot of trial and error. I just hope this helps somebody else when it comes time to build yours. You can kind of get a feel for what I did. And if you have any questions, just leave them for me on my YouTube channel or what have you. And please subscribe and like. This, like I said, this is, if you look at our description, it's a father and son dream to game together, to share some of it together with some of our friends out there in the World Wide Web. So you can see here these big steel containers, they take a lot of space. So, you know, basically you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walls high just to fit them comfortably into a room, which is really about the minimal level you really want to have for an aviary if you're going to put some birds in. Now, the only thing I'm not crazy about is to really see what you're doing with the electrical cables. As you can see here, you kind of have to run them up where you can visibly keep track of them. I really should have ran these along the ceiling or something, though, and dropped them down in more aesthetically pleasing places, but you know, I just didn't do that. I've got a open balcony here where I can come out and check out on the other side if anything's going on at my son's base. We've got some handy turrets, some miniguns, if you will, in different places. So now here I've got sort of my food area slash grilling, cooking, refrigerated type deal going on. So you can see here, I'm not sure why all my meat's spoiled. Looks like I need to cook some more. So I'll put some of the spoiled meat away. Got a couple handy blueprints, as you can see there. I've been getting a lot of those from the drops. That's really, really neat. So let's put some meat in here. Now, I'm new to this grill. I just put this thing together, just got the ability, the Ingram, to do it. So I'm experimenting there a little bit with that. Fairly new to the game still. I always consider myself a noob anyway. But I'm learning as I go. Now, one thing I learned that was interesting is if you wanna be a little creative as far as how to get into an area, you can put a little crate there, and instead of a ramp or something fancier, if you want to kind of make it a fun little obstacle course, if you will, you can put some crates there and go into different areas. So you can see here I got some split levels and cordoned off rooms, and in order to line up with the gateways conveniently, another little work area here, there's some different levels here based on the different height of the dino doors versus the walls. You can see the top of the pillar of the dino door coming out there. I don't like how this is blocking things, so probably going to demolish this, guys. I don't like that very much. So, you know, you'll as you're building your castle or your base, you'll kind of evolve how you do things. Structure is real important to me, like I said, so it drives me crazy that I'm just throwing stuff in here randomly. But for now, it'll work. I'm going to eventually come back and give everything its own space, if you will, and have a nice organizational effort going on. I'm a little organizational, a little too organized sometimes. I'm gonna actually build a spreadsheet with what I have and where it's at, and that's a little crazy, but it's fun for me. I actually enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So if you ever want help with your base or whatever, you know, give me a shout out. Now, we have our own private server here, but this is what we're on now. It's called the KHG Legion server. You'll see it's PvE for now. If the demand is enough that they want us to go PvE or PvP, we will. But like I said, I love building, and not really crazy about somebody coming in and tearing down what I build. So I may develop a separate PvP server if there's not a lot of demand for it, where I don't have stuff quite as high a workload to worry about protecting. Now, the amount of hours it took me to do this were just astronomical. I think I spent 2 weeks working on this, and I got so focused on it that I realized afterwards, I was like, you know, I really should have made a video of each stage of development. But if you need any help with your base, or you're wondering how I put things together, just let me know. There's a little bit of a technique to understanding the structural requirements for placing these ceiling tiles versus how many pillars you place. The interesting thing, though, is once you have ceilings, for example, underneath everything, it becomes easier to place other ceilings. And I tried not to take advantage of that from a standpoint where it wasn't realistic, like stuff just hanging in the sky above other stuff. So that's what I used the steel ceiling platforms below for. And I literally put the stone ceilings as you know, it would be the floor. Of course, it looks just like a floor versus a ceiling. But I put those on top of the steel ones to start the stone structure, to make it look as realistic as I possibly could. You know, I'm still limited by the mechanics of the game, but I think this turned out really well. It was actually better than I had feared, because I just kind of winged it as I went, trying to figure out how to make all of this work. Still a lot of things I want to do to modify and adjust things. You know, there's, in some ways, it's a little bit difficult to get into different areas and so forth. Maybe a little more difficult than I had hoped, but I'm gonna modify things as we go. But I think you'll agree, most of you, from the outside looking in, it's pretty impressive and pretty fun to just imagine this being a castle, if you will. Now, what I'm hoping later is they'll put in some furniture and maybe some wall banners and things that you can do to dress up your house. So if anybody from the development team's looking and you want any ideas from me that maybe I can come up with for that, I'll help you out. But I'd like to have like a throne room and a dining hall. I'd like to have some some chairs and tables people can really set in. So here you can see from the top, I've got multiple miniguns on each tower. Don't have a lot in each tower yet, and I haven't put an access directly up there, simply because I just jump off my bird up there. That's kind of by design, so nobody has easy access to at least my top tier guns there. I've got some of my other turrets here, if you will, automated turrets, or I like to call them miniguns. They look like miniguns to me. So you can see that once you got power with an outlet nearby, you can power up most things. I love these omnidirectional lampposts. They're really bright. They're really functional. I put in more generators than I needed to before I realized how the electrical really laid out and worked. But I'm glad I did in a way, because it turned out to where I didn't have to run as much electrical cable. I can kind of use the generator for each level the way I see fit. And I just love this game, guys. You can see graphically it's just so impressive. But the castle, I think maybe most of you will agree with me, it kind of looks like a castle. It's very impressive as far as maybe not so much the shape as the fact that it's nice and tall. There's a lot of place for different things you can do with it and storage. And I love how these stone dino gates, even though I wish they were just a tad bit bigger for the birds, if you go too big with the Goliath stone gates, it's just almost too big. You could go that route though, and I may try that on one side and see how that works out. If I do, I'll do another video for you. But I tried to give it a little bit of style and an aesthetic appeal and make it look like more than just a big square box. So a little bit challenging when you're building in the sky, like I said, but I think it turned out a whole lot better than I feared. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like the castle. If you want our server IP address or anything, let me know. But again, I think we've got it there under KHG Gaming, Kid Hopeful Gaming server. Rex going to be in the way here. I will tell you that getting in and out of the dino doors is not really that difficult, but you got to be careful in that if you build it only, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4 walls high, it's really not quite high enough. The doors are actually big enough, but the problem is once you get in the door, the bird sort of glitches along the floor. Unless you point your head way down as you're flying them, then it seems to catch on the ladders and the walls and the ceiling a lot less. So you can see there, what wasn't too bad getting in there. And then you can actually open and close the doors as long as you get the bird's head close enough to it. But then you got to back off a little bit if it opens towards you and so forth. But not too bad. You can see we got a nice little bird collection going here. Probably all I'm going to tame for now. I try not to go too crazy on the dinos. But see how I glitched a little bit until I put my head down? Now he's flying a lot smoother. That typically helps move around in here without it getting hung up. Otherwise you'll sit here and bounce and bounce and bounce and not get anywhere on your bird. So if I had to change anything, I probably would have taken the walls one wall higher, which would have been along the top of these dino doors, instead of kind of vectoring everything off of that fourth wall tile there, as you can see. So again, hope you've enjoyed it. We really enjoyed sharing this with you. A lot of man hours went into it, and if I do any more changes, I'll try to catch that step by step for you. Thanks so much to the few subscribers we got so far. We're planning on doing something special for all our subscribers once we reach 1,000. So, and we're really believing for that. We're feeling blessed and highly favored to get that direction. We try to keep things clean for the younger audience, and hopefully that's good for the moms and dads at home who are worried about what your kids are watching. I know a lot of kids are loving this game. I know my son is. It's a pretty amazing game. Brings out the creative side of your kids too, which is really cool, as far as building structures and things and designing bridges and what have you. We've also got a river here below us that we're gonna build a bridge across, so I'll share that with you guys as I make that happen. I might record that locally and then upload it, or I might stream it. Just don't want the video to get too crazy long. We'll put some timestamps in our videos for you as much as we can to make it easier to jump around and get to the juicy bits you want. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. Let us know what else you want to see. If you want to see us try to attempt some big crazy building, or something super structure, or anything else you'd like to see, a certain dino you want to see tamed, let us know. We'll try to accommodate you in any way we can and make it a fun experience for everybody involved. Again, thanks for joining us, and for now that'll be it. We'll catch you later.